Okay, Jack, here we go. Roger. Hold on, everybody. Wheels up and locked. Wheels up and locked. Flaps down. Flaps down. Lake bed at 1 o'clock. Roger. 1 o'clock. Come on. Come on now. That's the girl. A little more easy.
There were no injuries. 25-year-old First Lieutenant Chester Kearney had brought the plane in, wheels up, on the frozen lake bed by doing what so many B-17 pilots did during the war. Stay focused, trust your training, and trust your airplane. The crew spent 2 bitterly cold nights in a makeshift camp before being rescued. The B-17 eventually sank and spent 56 years underwater before it was rescued. In World War II, the B-17 was the workhorse in the air war in Europe and the Pacific theaters.
B-17 out of control at 3 o'clock.
Many didn't return. But to all, we owe a deep sense of gratitude for their courage and dedication.
Even though it happened a little over 50 years ago, it to us just happened not too many years ago. It's an experience that was so vivid because I think the people over there, they were dedicated, they were well trained, and they did their duty. Part of your family, you might say, because we stayed together and we lived together, and as I said, you died together too.
Looking at it, you should see this appears to be closer, so it could be this little peninsula there.
Let's take that same thought and look at this now.
5 decades later, airplane collector and businessman Don Brooks commissioned UAS of Seattle to find Chester Kearney's B-17, raise it from the lake bottom, disassemble it, and truck it to Douglas, Georgia for a complete restoration.
It's almost too good to be true.
Easier said than done.
This is an old abandoned fish camp where one of the local guides that's also a diver claims that he dove in this area and retrieved several pieces off of a B-17. Well, we know they were here 51 years ago. A navigator's seat, CO2 fire extinguisher, a fuse panel cover, an oxygen tank, several small pieces. So I thought it was possibly from another B-17 crash that was built earlier than the one that we were looking for up at Dyke Lake.
They had found the original camp and pieces of a B-17.
There's another tip over there that's got some rocks on it.
But the sunken plane was elusive.
Halfway between the tip of this and that tip.
Don Brooks resigned himself to locating a few artifacts from that original camp. Spirits were not high.
I don't know at this point.
Then their luck changed.
Got an interesting looking target here.
Well, it appears to be wings, fuselage, possibly 4 engines, and maybe the tail broken off. I think that's the B-17.
Is that what we're checking out?
I think you better put your suit on.
This determined group went to the wilds of Labrador to recover a part of history.
The plane, most people think of airplanes as machines and that, but over there we had the same plane, and it really had a personality, and it was very sad to leave it.
This important piece of a nation's past will be painstakingly restored and eventually flown again as a monument to the sacrifice of thousands of pilots, co-pilots, air and ground crews.
I'm afraid I'm going to wake up and find out that this is just a dream. I can hardly express myself why somebody would really take the time and effort and to locate the plane out in the middle of nowhere and even locate the spot where we were in. I can't, it's hard to believe.